I never meant for it to get this far. But here we were, me standing in the sterile hospital room, the beeping of machines filling the silence, staring down at a man who'd conned everyone into believing he was dying. His voice cracked, weak, like he wanted sympathy. "You don't know what you're doing, Daniel," he whispered. The syringe in my hand caught the glow of the overhead light. My reflection warped in the metal tray beside him. His eyes, suddenly wide and panicked, told me the truth. He wasn't sick at all. He was afraid of me. That was the moment everything flipped. 2 months earlier, I was still just a mechanic from Dayton, Ohio. Greased under my nails. Long hours. Same routine every day. Lottery tickets were an afterthought, something I'd grab at the gas station when my tank was near empty. Then came the morning, I scratched the numbers, and my entire life tilted. $40 million. It didn't feel real. I didn't scream, I didn't faint, I just sat in my car with the ticket between my fingers, the radio humming static, trying to breathe. By nightfall, everyone knew. That's how my cousin Tyler slithered back into my life. Tyler was the kind of guy who could make you feel like you owed him something, even when you didn't. We weren't close. Barely family. I hadn't seen him in years. But once the news broke about the lottery, he showed up at my shop with his crocodile smile and a limp that wasn't there the last time I'd seen him. "Man, Dan," he said, wincing as he lowered himself into a chair. "I hate to drop this on you, but I've been sick. Real bad. Doctors don't think I've got much time." He coughed weakly into his sleeve. I noticed there was no phlegm, no strain. Just theater. "Thing is," he said, "I don't have much family. You're one of the only people left who'd care. And well, you're doing better now." That was his angle. My win, his fake illness. Tyler told anyone who would listen that I'd promised to share. He spun it like I was heartless if I didn't. The story spread. Family barbecues, neighbors, even people at the diner where I grabbed breakfast. "Dan's cousin is dying, and he won't lift a finger to help." It burned me. But the real kicker came a week later, when I overheard him on the phone outside a pharmacy. He was laughing. No cough, no weakness, just laughing. And then he said it clear as day. He actually believes it. "This idiot cousin of mine is going to bankroll my retirement." That was the moment I knew. He wasn't just a leech. He was planning to take everything. The more I ignored him, the louder he got. He started telling people I owed him because we'd once gone halves on a scratch-off ticket as kids. That was true. We were 12. The ticket had lost. But Tyler spun it into some twisted history that he'd taught me how to play. He paraded around town with his limp and pale face makeup, shaking hands, collecting sympathy. He told people he was drafting a lawsuit against me. The whispers got under my skin. Coworkers asked if it was true. Old friends texted me, saying I should just cut him a check and be done with it. I started questioning myself, doubting what I'd heard that night on the phone. Maybe I'd misheard. Maybe he really was sick. That was his game, making me second guess until I couldn't see straight. Then came the night I saw him at the bar. I'd stopped in late, hoodie up, ball cap low. Tyler was there with his buddies, throwing back whiskey, laughing about his treatments. "Chemo, yeah, right," he said, smirking. "Only treatment I need is top shelf. No limp, no cough, no weakness." That's when the anger hardened into something colder, something sharper. I wasn't the only one watching him. A week later, a woman approached me outside the grocery store. Middle-aged, neat haircut, steady eyes. "You're Daniel, right?" I nodded. "I'm Karen. I used to date Tyler. I know his tricks. He's not sick, never has been. He's pulled scams before. Insurance fraud, fake disability, you name it. He'll bleed you dry if you let him." Her voice didn't shake. She wasn't warning me out of kindness. She was warning me like someone who'd been burned. "He keeps all his real records in a storage unit on Mill Road," she said. "You want proof? That's where it'll be." That was the first night I drove out there and started planning. I rented a unit 2 doors down, paid cash, kept it low profile. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched him come and go. He wasn't careful. He never thought anyone might be onto him. Inside his unit, he kept everything. Fake medical bills, props, receipts for stage makeup. Even an old wheelchair he'd never once used in public. I didn't steal anything right away. I just studied, took pictures, made copies. The whole time, Karen stayed in touch. She didn't want money. She wanted to see him fall. She became my quiet ally in the shadows. And slowly, I built a plan. Tyler finally filed his lawsuit. He claimed half the winnings were his. He painted me as greedy, heartless, willing to watch my dying cousin waste away while I sat on millions. His lawyers leaned hard on sympathy. The local news picked it up. For a moment, it looked like he might win. Public opinion was on his side. People love a sick underdog. But that's when I moved. On courtroom day, he shuffled in with his limp, clutching his side like he was about to collapse. Cameras clicked. Reporters scribbled notes. His lawyer laid out the sob story like gospel. And then, it was my turn. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't even look at Tyler until the end. I just handed the judge a neatly organized binder. Inside were photos from his storage unit. Receipts for whiskey, not chemo. Makeup palettes. The wheelchair still wrapped in plastic. Even audio recordings Karen had helped me get. Him bragging about faking cancer to milk me for millions. The room shifted. Reporters stopped writing. Tyler's lawyer's face drained of color. Tyler tried to stammer something about privacy and taken out of context, but it was too late. The evidence was airtight. The judge dismissed his claim on the spot. But I wasn't finished. I'd filed a countersuit for defamation, harassment, and attempted fraud. And with Karen as witness, the case was strong. Tyler didn't just lose. He crumbled. The lawsuit bankrupted him. His so-called friends vanished. The house he'd been renting went into foreclosure. Last I heard, he was living out of a cheap motel on the edge of town. I could have left it there. That would have been enough, but I didn't, because the truth is, Karen and I had planned something deeper. See, Karen wasn't just an ex-girlfriend, she was the one Tyler had conned years earlier in a disability scam. He'd taken her savings, wrecked her credit, and walked away without a second thought. She wanted payback as much as I did. So while Tyler was busy drowning in legal bills, Karen quietly took possession of that storage unit. She didn't just keep the evidence. She mailed copies of everything, to the IRS, to his insurance company, to anyone he'd ever scammed. Within a month, Tyler wasn't just broke. He was under federal investigation. That limp he used to fake, he was going to need it for real when prison was through with him. Which brings us back to the hospital room, the place he landed after some staged collapse when the heat finally closed in. He begged me that night, told me he was sorry, told me we were family. But I just leaned closer and whispered, "You should have picked someone else." Then I set the syringe down, not poison, just saline. Harmless, but he didn't know that. He believed it was the end. Watching him panic, watching him realize he wasn't in control anymore, that was better than any injection could have been. I walked out before he knew the truth. Tyler finally learned what it felt like to choke on his own lies. This is the end of the story from my side. Please share your thoughts about the story in the comments section. I will be reading each and every comment. See you tomorrow.